Two of the things that every single one of us needs to be clear on in our lives are vision and values, which also happen to be two things that are very difficult for men to nail down. And I know because I've been one of them. I remember back when I was in my mid-20s, I just wanted somebody to reveal my vision to me so that I can start chipping away at it and do it. All I wanted to do was to see the clouds part and suddenly know what my whole life was about and get busy, get to work. And similarly with values, I just wanted somebody to show me the way, just show me the way to live a good and noble and honorable life. And it was so difficult realizing that I needed to be the one who sourced that information for myself. So if you're one of those people who has a difficulty nailing down your vision or really connecting with your values, I'm going to offer you something that I think will really help. Thinking of vision and values, to me, it's a 1-2 punch. Vision is like looking off in the distance and seeing the mountaintop. Whatever that mountaintop represents for you, it's something that is off in the distance that when you close your eyes, in your mind's eye, you can see it. You can connect with it. You can see snapshots of a future that isn't yet here. It might be a year or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 years down the road, but you can start to see glimpses of it. Maybe you can connect with the textures of it, the taste of it, the smell, the colors, everything around you, people, faces, images that reflect what it would be like to be on the top of that mountain. And the exciting part about vision is that vision starts to bring some excitement, right? It starts to stir up energy and inspiration. Before the resistance comes up, there's that idea of standing on the mountain, standing on top of Everest, raising your hands triumphantly in the air and feeling that sense of fulfillment. That's vision. Vision is something off in the distance that is not yet here, but I can imagine myself there, something that will compel me forward. Because one thing I know is that in order to get there, I'm going to have to do a lot of walking to get to the top of that mountain. So that's vision. And then there's values. What are values? What do values really represent? And this is where I turn to an analogy. So if a vision is the boat, right? Vision is the boat that we're navigating down the river. Then values are the riverbanks, right? My personal values, my personal code as a man, my moral compass and sense of what's right and what's wrong for me shapes how that vision unfolds. So whether it's my integrity, my discipline, my sense of service, my growth, my spirituality, my sense of community, these are all values that lift up and uphold the vision that I have for my life. If I'm acting out of integrity with my values or incongruently with the values that shape my life, then I'll be crashing. I'll be crashing and going, riding my boat ashore. I won't be navigating my boat smoothly down the river. The values and vision play vital and complementary roles to each other. The vision allows me to have a sense of knowing where I want to go. Sometimes it's something I can only connect with when I close my eyes, or I tune into my breath, or I check in with my gut, my body. But the values are very tangible things that I use as filters to decide, is this decision congruent with the way I want to live my life? Is this option, this possibility, does that fit in with the greater vision I have and the greater imagination I have for what I want to create in the world around me? Simple values, simple things like fun, adventure, discipline, honor, these words that represent something to each and every one of us. It might be a little bit different for you. Your sense of adventure might be different than my sense of adventure. But what's important is that you know that that is something that must be present in your life. That whatever the vision you hold for your life is, it won't be able to stand up unless it's resting on top of these values you've carved out for yourself. So just imagine your vision is this boat that you're navigating down this long river, trying to get to some destination that you've never been to before. And you're just smoothly working your way down the river, and the parameters of the river, the boundaries of the river are the values you've decided matter to you. Now, how do we source values? This is a bigger conversation, but to simplify it, values are sourced from watching and modeling how other people are doing life in the world. So I've decided to be a man of my word because of the people in my life I've seen operating their lives that way. And the results that I've seen happen from living your life in an honorable way. The sense of adventure, a sense of discipline, we decide that this matters to us because we've witnessed and observed it in other people. And then we've tried it on for ourselves. What does it feel like for me to prioritize adventure in my life or to prioritize discipline in my life? Does that work for me? Does that fit in with this idea, this image I have of myself in a future that doesn't yet exist? That's what values are for. And also why it's really important to get out there in the world and to sample from other people what different values look like, to watch people doing their life according to a certain set of values and trying that on. Well, what does it look like for me to really put emphasis on my word, to really prioritize health and fitness or whatever your value might be, and decide, that's not so important to me. It's not premier. Right? Because there's a lot of things that we can value, but what are the things that are of the utmost, the premier importance in our lives? To me, that's the personal code. That's the thing that if you're not connected to that yet, then that's got to be your first mission. Find what you value, because that is going to filter and make really simple all the decisions that come up in your life. When you've decided that my life is about adventure, when you have to make a decision about what to do next in your life, you can lean on that and say, well, which of these possibilities really allows me to honor that sense of adventure in my life, or that sense of family, or the value I have around growth, right? So values and vision, these are two instrumental pieces in any human's journey, but especially the men out there, right? There's this connection to purpose, this longing for purpose, this desire to be of service and give back that is rooted in the foundations of vision and values. Both very personal journeys, both things that you can't just sit down for a long weekend in an Airbnb somewhere and decide what your vision and your values are. You got to be living life. You got to be out there in the world, testing these visions and values and seeing what really resonates to your core. That's what it's all about. That's the most important thing. So if you're not connected to your vision or your values, if you've been a little bit confused as to what these are, then think about that boat just navigating its way down the river and what it would mean to be really solid in this vehicle, this vessel that you're operating, that you're moving towards that mountaintop with the parameters of your values to steer the way. I hope that this clarifies some things. I hope that this sheds some light and insight on vision and values, because I know it was so confusing for me earlier in my life. When I was in my mid-20s, I had no idea how to navigate vision and values. And it's something that I've learned is not something you nail down in stone. It's always evolving. It's always refining based on the experiences we have. But you can get it to a place that will inform these bigger decisions that you need to make in your life. And if you don't feel clear on your vision and your values, then that's an important place to start. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it really just rocked something in your core. If you know somebody who would benefit from it, please share it up. And as always, make sure you tune in for another episode of Monday Morning Meditations next week. Peace out.